Okay, here I have a circle, and what my goal is that I would like to try to figure out what is the area of this circle. And so in order to do that, I want to rearrange the circle into a different shape whose area I already know. So maybe you remember the area formula for a circle. When we get to the end of all of this, we should be able to say what the area of the circle is and how we know that. But in order to do that, I want to rearrange the pieces. So I have started with my circle and I have colored in the circumference of the circle in blue, just to help us see what's happening with the circumference of the circle as we move pieces around. I could also mark the radius of the circle here if I wanted to, radius of the circle. And I've also colored in half of the circle's area. The reason for that is just to help us see what's happening as the area starts moving around, to keep track of where did the various pieces go. It's not at all important, it just helps us to see what's happening. So the way that I want to rearrange this circle's area is that I'm going to cut it up into some pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it in half. And actually my goal here is going to be to cut the circle into 8 equal sized pieces. And I'm going to do that in these little wedge-shaped ways. So I'm just gonna eyeball these 8 pieces so we can pretend that they're equal size. If I was doing this a little bit slower, I might be a little bit more careful about how the 8 pieces are cut so that they're actually equal to one another. And then I'm gonna arrange my 8 pieces on this paper, and I'm gonna arrange them with the non-shaded ones and then the shaded ones, kind of like this. The reason for that, again, is just so you can see where the area is moving to, not for any other reason than that. So if you're doing this on your own and you don't have shaded pieces, that's fine. If you want to arrange the shaded pieces in a different way, that's also fine. And so I look at the shape and I say, do I recognize what the shape is? And maybe you do and maybe you don't, and that's okay either way, because we're going to take some more steps after this. But that's the goal. We want to be looking at this and asking ourselves, do we recognize this shape? Is this helping us to calculate the area of the circle? So the next step after this is that I'm actually going to take each of these pieces and I'm going to cut them in half again. So here's one of the pieces and I'll cut that in half, and don't worry, I'm not going to cut all of them. I already did that. But so I cut all 8 of my pieces, each of them in half, and then that's going to give me 16 pieces total. So let's push those off to the side and take a look at what it looks like when I have 16 pieces total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I got them all there. And I still have the shaded ones arranged so that you can see where the area is going. And you can still see the blue highlighting for my circumference and all that. And again, we ask, do we recognize the shape? And again, maybe we do, maybe we don't, but we're just going to continue this process. So I'm going to take each of these little pieces and I'm going to cut them in half again. So from 16 pieces, I'm going to go to 32 pieces. So here is what it looks like when I have cut all 16 of my pieces in half. So I have 32 total pieces. And again, they're not very exact because there's a lot of them and they're pretty little, but if I could have made them exact, then maybe this is starting to look more like a shape you recognize. And so I'm going to continue this process. I'm going to cut each of these in half, and then I'm going to cut each of those in half, and I'm going to cut each of those in half until all of these pieces are so small that I can't even see them individually. And the shape that I have at the end is going to look a little bit more like this. And hopefully you recognize this shape. And so then we can still see what's happening with the blue circumference. We could maybe also see what's happening with the radius of the original circle. And we can figure out what shape this is that we get after so much cutting that the pieces are all so small that we can't see them anymore. I don't have them still shaded in this picture, but you can imagine half of them are still shaded, but now they're so small we can't even tell which ones are shaded and which ones aren't. So We'll have a few questions to answer about this shape, but if you label this diagram pretty well, hopefully you should be able to come up with a formula for the area of a circle.